Hello guys, and thank you for joining me on this one. In this tutorial I want to talk about text editors, and I took the time to open to search on Google for text editors, and as you can see there are a lot of editors available. We have Vim, Sublime, Notepad++, Ultra Edit, Commodore Edit. There is also PS Pad and so on and so forth, and you can choose anyone or use anyone. It's just a matter of preference. They would all achieve the same thing, but I have taken my time to also open some of the popular ones like Atom, like Sublime Text, Bracket, and Visual Studio Code. And you in your journey as a developer, you realize that most people use Visual Studio Code, which is also the one I used, and you saw it at the start of the video. So if you want to use this one, you can go ahead to download it. Visit visualstudio.com and you click on download to download for the one for your machine. This is for Mac, that's why it's here, but if you click here you can choose whichever one is for your machine and you have it downloaded. Okay, that being said, one of the reasons why most developers use Visual Studio Code is because of the fact that they are able, like this lady here, she has said that she loves it because she's able to customize the editor, change the layout and all that, which some of these editors you may not have the freedom to do that. You just have to use what has been provided for you by the creators of the application. And for instance, Sublime Text is not free for you to have all the features, although there are some features you would use for free. But Visual Studio Code is completely free. It is managed by Microsoft, the owners of this application. So when you've downloaded and installed it and you get to open it, you're going to see the screen like this. And I've also taken the liberty to create an empty folder on my desktop, and I also created a VS Code extension, a VS Code settings here, which the only thing I did was to increase the font size so you get to see, because this is not the font size when I code, but just for this particular project, this explainer video, I had to increase the font size so you can see. Okay, now that being said and taken out of the way, I would love to also put my editor and my browser side by side so that I won't get to be switching between them as we continue. Now we're going to look at some important editors, some important extensions you need to have as a developer. Okay, if you don't know how to open a folder, you just have to click on the Explorer. Then you click on the Explorer. If there is nothing here, you see open folder, you click on it and you choose the folder you want to open, and it comes here in the Explorer. Okay, now let's come to the extensions. And I had to install some of the extensions I would be needing on this machine, so that I would not take time in installing it in the video. Okay, so the first extension you should have as a developer is Live Server. So this is like your marketplace where you can search for extensions. Live Server. I already have Live Server installed, and you can see that there are about 17 million people using it. So you can be one of the people to use it. So what does it do? I have it installed and enabled. I will create a HTML file inside of this. Let's call index.html. that's fine. I don't know why I'm getting this extension, but let me change that. I'll work on it later to fix that. So let me just give it HTML so I can be able to use Emmet. Now I'll put in my boilerplate. Caleb, that's my name. I'm Caleb. Okay, so now I have opened this. I can create a h1 element here. Let's call it hello world. I don't know why we all use hello world to start, but then I have created it. For me to open this folder now and see the project I've done, I have to come here and double click, and it has opened in a separate browser, but let me bring it here so you can see. Okay, so now we have hello world here. The problem is that if I include another item here, let's say lorem, I'm using Emmet, which comes by default with Visual Studio Code. So lorem 15, it populates my text with 15 characters, and I save it. You see it does not show automatically. I would have to refresh it for that to work. And that means if I also create a UL, and let's have one li here, say welcome back, I'll also have to refresh it for it to work. But if you have live server installed, all you just have to do is here at the bottom you will see go live, and if you don't see it here, you just right click and you click on open with live server. But since it is here, I'll just click on it and we'll see it's opened. Now if I make any change here, or let's add another li, and let's say how are you, if I save, you see it automatically loads, while this other guy you have to still reload it. So this is live, as the name implies. As you're working, it's updating on your browser live. So it comes in handy while you're coding, because you get to see your output almost immediately. Okay, that is the first extension. The next extension is Prettier. So you just have to search for Prettier code formatter. So if you search for Prettier, you would see it. It's enabled, but I'll disable it now and I'll have to reload to make it work. And when I reload, I have to start live server again. So let me just close this up and okay, so we have it there. Now what does Prettier do? Remember I disabled it, so it's like it's not installed. Now some of us, when we write code, it is very important to make our codes clean. Some of us, you would see that li is here, and HTML works with nesting. Then your next li will be somewhere here. Welcome again. It will definitely show, okay, but then you will see that imagine a situation where you have your head here, your head is here. Inside of your head, all your contents are just like this, and your body, everything is just there. Okay, I just want to take my time to explain this. Okay, let's just leave it like this. Now it's quite confusing because you don't know where this one starts and where it ends and so on, so it becomes an issue. But with Prettier, what you can do is even when you save it, it doesn't change. So but with Prettier, it helps your code that when you save it, it automatically formats for you. So I'm going to enable again and see what happens when I save again. You see it comes back to how it should be. So it doesn't matter where you put this guy when you're coding. Okay, when you save, it comes back. For some cases where you save and it does not work, that means you have to go to settings, and then you go to settings. If you're using a Mac, you click on code preference and you have settings, or you use the shortcut, which is your command and your comma. But if you're using Windows, I think you go to file and then you see preference somewhere in file, and then after preference you go to settings, and it should be open for you. Now when it's open, you search for formats. First thing you check is your default formatter. If it is visual, if it is Prettier, you can see there are lots of them. And then you also now have to search for format on save. Okay, and always make sure this is on, because if this is off, and we try to save, it doesn't work. You may have to click on Prettier or something to make it work. So basically, just ensure this is always on, so that when you save, it works very well. Okay, that is that on this one. So the next and very important extension you need to have is the auto rename tag. So you have to search for it in the marketplace. Auto rename tag. Okay, so what this does is it helps us rename our tags. Let's take for instance, I am using it and I wouldn't disable it because but basically what it does is this: if you want to change the name of this tag, let's say you don't want to use h1, you want to use h6, so you would see that as I am renaming the first one, the second one gets renamed as well. That's the closing tag gets renamed as well. So this is useful when you have several nested tags, and for you to write one, and then probably inside of this there's another p tag. There's another p tag here with lorem. Let's give it 1000 characters. Okay, so what happens now is this: you want to rename this from p to something else. That means you'd have to rename this and then scroll, look for where the other one is to do the second thing. But with this, you can just easily, as with the auto rename tag, you're sure that the bottom one is being renamed. So I'll just rename it to h5, and you'll see if I scroll to the bottom, you see that it gets renamed as well. Okay, so that's what it does. It is very handy, and you should have it to make your life a lot more easier. So guys, the next extension we're going to be looking at is Path Intellisense. Okay, so Path Intellisense, what does it do? You can see it has over 6 million downloads. So what it does is that it intelligently finds the path to what you are looking for. Let me give an example. I'll create a folder inside of the home, not inside of any folder. Just I'll click out of this and I'll create a folder called CSS, and inside of this folder I'll create a file called style.css. And what I want to do inside of style.css is to take the h1 and change the color to say red. Okay, all right, so now you see it has not been applied, and for me to apply it I have to import it using link inside of the head. But now I have to put the path. But what Path Intellisense does for me now is when I click dot slash, it will provide the name of the file, the folders, and all that are in that parent directory, which is CSS. So I'll choose it. Now inside of CSS I have style.css, and I'll choose it. So if I save, you see it has been linked. Let's take for instance we have another CSS file, say main.css. Okay, and inside of this main I'll just style all my li. I'll give them a border bottom 2 pixel solid blue. So if I save, nothing happens. Okay, now I have to link it using Path Intellisense as well. Link, why I type link and every other thing pops out for me is because of emmet, which comes, like I said, as you're installing your Visual Studio Code, it comes with it bundled. So dot slash, I'm going into CSS, and inside of CSS I want main.css. So now I save, you see now that all my items here, they have a border at the bottom. That's how you can do your underlines. They have a border bottom of blue that is 2 pixel and solid. I can change it to dotted. Okay, and it changes. I can change it to dashed. By the way, I have a CSS video and HTML video that explains all of these very well, so do well to check it out. I'll include a playlist in the description.